It's Tuesday.
So we are recording. Is that correct? Okay.
Good evening and welcome to the September 11th meeting of the Ames Community School District Board of Directors. I'll take approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Rosser, seconded by Benken. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Passes 7-0. Director Bierbaum, will you please read the mission?
The mission of the Ames Community Schools is to ensure that all learners develop the knowledge, skills, attitudes, values, and personal esteem necessary to grow in and shape a changing society.
Thank you very much. I will go ahead and read our statement on our discussion items, our public comments for discussion items in public forum. Residents of the district, students attending the district, parents or guardians of students attending the district, and district staff members may address the board about any topic relevant to the district, whether on the current agenda or not. Those who wish to speak must sign up at the beginning of the meeting. Speaker participation is limited to 3 minutes once per item. The views and opinions of citizens addressing the board do not necessarily reflect those of the board, district administration, or staff. Speakers are to remember that Iowa law prohibits the board from discussing specific employees, students, or their performance. Student speakers will state their name and school. Others will state their name and address. And our first discussion item tonight is board policy approval process.
So I wanted to just put this on the discussion items so that we could all kind of be on the same page in terms of where we're at this year. So we subscribe to the Iowa Association of School Boards policy service this year. So our policies, their policies are vetted by an attorney or team of attorneys. In addition to that, they keep up with all of the legal changes and send us policy updates as those become current. Now, while we currently have most of the mandatory policies in place, there are some that we are missing. And so I just wanted you to be aware of that. And then also, I know that there's a policy committee, and that committee will remain in place. My recommendation is we go with the recommendation of Iasb and do the two meeting requirement rather than the three. 3 meetings puts us out a very long time, and it's not the most efficient way for us to get changes that are one mandatory or need to be changed in a timely manner for us to be current on our policies. So that would mean that we would send the updated policies to the policy committee. They would go on for a discussion item, if I'm correct, go on for a discussion item, and then if there are no concerns, we would then move it to the consent. Any questions about that?
I appreciate that we are utilizing this policy service from the standpoint, I think it takes a lot of pressure off our staff in terms of the ever-changing world of education and all of the laws that can come down from there. So I think from the standpoint of utilizing this service and providing it for our district is a smart way to move. And I appreciate the 2 meeting piece. It makes it consistent with all of our other things. We go through committee because our policy committee is still going to look at this stuff, send it to discussion item, and then on to an action item, assuming there are not any. And we've been there before when we've had some that have required more time, and we can pull those off. And certainly we would continue to do that. But I appreciate that this makes it consistent with the rest of our, for the most part, the rest of our business. So.
Yeah, good. Okay, thank you. And our 2 committee members, I believe policy committee, are Monique, correct?
That's right, yes.
Monique and Alan. Okay,
Yeah.
correct.
Good.
All right.
So we will need to bring this back then next meeting for under an action item.
Yep.
So.
And the committee will be busy, and I'm thinking you may have received a...
Yes.
Okay, so we'll be busy this year, and then hopefully we'll kind of get into a rhythm where we'll have a more regular set meeting time and have less policies each time to review.
Great.
I'd like to echo Director Franson's comments about appreciating your efforts with this. You know, we have to have our policy in alignment with the state requirements, and so I appreciate that. I understand there's a backlog of policies and some are out of date, and so I appreciate you kind of giving us that consistency. It's really important. I think another one of the things that we talked about in our smaller group agenda setting meeting, that maybe the rest of the board, I don't know where they are on this, but really understanding that some of the policies that come to the policy committee, perhaps if the board agrees, we can also move those out of that process, because some of the policies that come, the changes are required by the state, and they're not the ones, it doesn't matter what we want to say about them, and so those also either are affected by this or would be additionally excluded from the review process, just so we can get all of our policies up to date. So
I appreciate you clarifying that, because I did forget that piece. Thank you.
I think one thing I wanted to note that just more for the public as an educational opportunity here, when I was reviewing all of this information, as a board, this is one of our primary functions, is to approve policy, to set. Now, granted, Iasb is helping us to set many of these, but to set and approve policy. It is then up to Superintendent Reisner and her staff to establish the administrative rules, and that is how they believe they will carry out that policy. Now, granted, we as a board, we can come back to our superintendent and our staff and say, we don't believe that that is consistent with the policy that we set, but they are the ones that set the administrative rules. So in the future, when you see our policies listed, we will list the policy and the administrative rules. Understand, we are approving the policy, and then that is our charge to our staff to go ahead and set those administrative rules to carry out that policy in our district. So I just wanted to take that opportunity to educate anyone who was unaware of that. So great. Well, thank you very much. Any public comments on the board policy approval process? Seeing none, we will go ahead and move to the public forum, and we do not have anyone signed up to speak, so I'll go ahead and go to consent items.
Move approval of consent.
Second.
Moved by Deerdorf, seconded by Rosser. Superintendent Reisner.
On our agreements. Okay, wait, let me double check here. You're wanting me to read?
If you want to list through everything on it.
Okay. Yep. Okay, I thought we were
know.
missing one, so I'm looking to see, wait a minute.
Where did we go?
28E, agreements with preschool partners. Service agreements with Lutheran Services of Iowa, that's for Beloit. Contract with group travel planners for orchestra trip. Amendment to, help me say that, Siemens Building Automation Service Agreement. Agreement with ISU for student teachers for 2018-19. Amendment to Architectural Services Agreement. CIC software agreements and service agreement with a media group for DJ services for homecoming.
It's been moved by Deerdorf, seconded by Rosser.
One comment on the DJ service one, it's a minor thing, but there was an error where there was a copy and paste error. It talks about the prom, not homecoming. But I just noticed that when I was reading through it.
But it's for homecoming.
Yeah.
Duly noted. Okay, thank you for pointing that out. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes 7-0. You can have home music Saturday night, Spence. All right.
You don't have to be the DJ as well.
All right, our action item tonight is naming the delegate to attend the Iasb Delegate Assembly on November 14th. And just as a point of education, the Iowa Association of School Board Members is the organization that we all become members of when we are members of the board. And we have a delegate from our board who represents us and goes to many of us go to the conference, but one of us represents us during that delegate meeting. And Louis Rosser is it. It's one of his assignments under the committees. And so this is really a formality. So I just wanted to lay that out there. I know we have not had a motion, but I wanted to explain to everyone that is what this is on our agenda. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to nominate Director Rosser to represent the Ames Community School Board as the IASB delegate.
I'll second.
There you go.
People. Colton, thank you. So it's moved by Benkin, seconded by Colton. Any discussion?
I actually would like to thank Director Rosser for his role in this regard. I think that this opportunity really plays to your strengths. I think you really understand the complexities of the way government functions and the relationship that the legislature and the local districts need to have. And I appreciate the information and the transparency that you bring back to our board. And so I would be happy to see you continue in this role.
Thank you.
You do a good job keeping us up to date from January until April or May or whenever on everything happening at the State House. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moved by Benkin, seconded by Colton. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Passes 7-0.
I'll abstain from that.
Oh, you abstain. 6-0, 1 abstention. All right, items from the board.
I want to remind the board about the Taste for Education that's coming up Sunday, September 30th. It's at the Gateway at 5 o'clock, and this is their 7th annual. So just putting that out there for the board and the public.
Any other items?
I've already got my tickets, for the record.
Me too.
Good, good.
Wouldn't miss it.
I just want to thank all of the community members that came out last Wednesday. We had a community forum with our architects and with Story Construction, and really appreciated people coming out. Great questions asked of those on the high school steering committee. I want to thank our staff, Principal Evans, Superintendent Reisner. I think that it provided a great opportunity to answer some of the questions about, you know, what the CTE wing of it is, and learning more about that, and where math and sciences are represented. Some questions about the pool that we were able to answer in terms of phasing, and then the big question about parking that we know is going to be an opportunity to serve our students in a different manner. Right, Spence? So, but I just really appreciate the community coming out and our staff, because I think anytime we can answer questions and get people up to date and up to speed on all the work that our architects are doing is a great opportunity for us. So if you have not watched that, it is on YouTube, Facebook, somewhere that the presentation is out there. So I encourage you to check it out.
I'd like to commend the wonderful parade that was downtown. Way to go. I know this is a crazy busy week for Ames High with homecoming. And isn't it kind of early this year? A little bit?
It's usually week 4 or 5 on, so
Okay,
it's
okay.
early, actually it'll be week 5. So.
That's what I've been hearing from a number of parents, just like, already? So, but good luck on the rest of the week.
Items from the superintendent.
Just an update. We have been working with Panorama on the survey tool that you approved, I believe in the spring of last year officially. I think it was piloted in the fall, if my understanding is correct. And then in the spring, I'm pretty sure the board took action and approved that tool for us to use this year. So we had a conference call today. We are working on looking at making sure that the questions that are answered have that look at, are they in any way biased? Then the additional conversation that we're following up with is really around access. So we know that one building, the parents that participated in the survey, I think the number was extremely low. And so how do we make sure that parents are able to get their voices heard through the survey tool? And then what is our end result of that survey? So it's a survey that we're planning to give to students parents, the potential of community, as well as our staff. So we have a lot more work to go, and it's one of those that we're kind of trying to slow down on to make sure that we have it be very reliable if we roll this out. Or when we roll this out. So our goal originally was really to have it ready to go by October, and I think there's a lot more work that needs to be done. One of the things I think is important is that the board sets their goals for the year, and because we want to make sure that we're asking some questions that will help us in the long run measure where we are benchmark, and then as we go, having those pieces to look at data-wise. So there's still some more work to be done, and I'll keep you posted, and then at some point probably talk with you a little more, either through a work session or maybe even at the board table on just where we're at and your input as well. And we'll utilize our small groups as well to talk about that. And the homecoming parade, well done. My first homecoming parade in Ames, and it was phenomenal. I cannot believe what incredible kids we have. They are so impressive. So Spence, nice job, and nice job to the rest of the high school crew and the kids. I met last week with Heartland AEA, and that's our educational association, and they provide our special education, kind of the umbrella services for us, and then they do a lot of staff development opportunities, and so we were talking about more collaboration and partnership around some of our initiatives that we have here and how they could support us in that training at a local level. So that we continue to talk with them. And then I also just wanted to update the board on Leadership Ames. I had my first Leadership Ames experience, and it was phenomenal. I'm excited. We have our next one coming up, I think not the end of this week, but the following week maybe. But excellent. It was excellent. So I'm glad to have that opportunity.
Great. Thank you. How about the board planning calendar? What lies ahead for us?
So I had Kim send some potential dates for board work sessions, and I don't know if the board had a chance today to look at it before the meeting, but I sent a Google document, if you have your computers in front of you, that also laid out a second option. So option one was to have some board work sessions on the nights that are opposite of the board meetings. And that's difficult, I know, because it's another night away from your families, and I know that's difficult. So option number two, which is in blue, has those work sessions after the business meeting. So the board business meeting, we'd start maybe just a little bit earlier, have the work session right after that. And the bulk of the work sessions, one is going to be to kind of define our goals for the year. And then one will be to go over the transportation report. And then from there, it will be to look at our enrollment options and look at some of the data, philosophy around that, attendance centers, and then I mapped out kind of a process where I would have some community input time, some staff input time that I would go. The board does not need to be at those. They're always welcome, but I don't want you to feel like that's on top of the nights that you're already here. So anyway, I think we probably should make a decision on that soon, which one we want to go with, if we want to do the nights that are opposite to our board meeting nights, or if we want to go with an earlier meeting time and then have it right after.
Yeah. We could probably discuss this during our work session, can't we?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, no, you can't, because it's not on the agenda.
Because it's not
Well, it's
listed
not
on the
on this
agenda.
agenda either.
So,
It's just an update. And
so
asking for feedback
so
down
we
the
can
road.
give feedback.
It's part of the
road.
board
Yeah,
planning
okay,
calendar.
Calendar. Yep, yep.
Okay.
So,
So
go ahead, Alan. Yep.
feedback I would have, I don't know about anybody else, but I would much rather have it just the one night. That's much easier to schedule, and I already effectively reserved that Monday as its school board, right? So that would be my strong preference.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, I would agree, although I would say that if we get into it and we realize some of these discussions, we're getting late at night and we're not really having good discussions and not making good decisions, maybe, when we get down the road into November, December, when we realize that, maybe once in a while we could have a separate night. But I think to start off right now, having it on this board night is a good practice.
And I'm hoping that the second part of the year, we won't have to have them as frequently, but we kind of need to get, if we're going to do some different look at it, enrollment and how we do that, we need to get on that now and have a plan ready by January when we look at staffing and transportation and all of those pieces. So I don't want us to be too late to make a change.
And I think that makes it a little easier also for the public, because they know that our meeting nights then will also be, and as we had tonight, it's a different time earlier because we have a work session. We're trying to combat we are here until 10 or 11 o'clock at night syndrome. So I think if we can pull things together, it sounds like what I'm hearing from everyone is if we can have them the same nights, and maybe that will be even easier for the public. So,
and we'll get those posted right away.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, we can get those posted.
Thank you for laying that plan out for us so we know kind of what lies ahead. We appreciate that. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Wait.
Oh, hold on.
I don't think you're adjourned till
Oh, gosh. So we're not. Okay, so we will recess we will take a 10-minute recess until our work session. Sorry, scratch that adjournment.
Okay.
Thank you.
I withdraw my motion.
Thank you.
So,
So we're going to pick?